Hey everyone, Ryan from Ebike Escape, and today we're reviewing the Eunorau fat tire, all-wheel drive, dual motor, electric bike. It will surely make your riding on both sand and snow much more pleasant, so let's check it out. Okay, let's get into the walk around of this bike. I will note that I have added some accessories to this bike already, so I will call out those compared to what comes stock on the Eunorau all-wheel drive bike. We'll start up here in the front. You can see we have Kenda Juggernaut tires, 26 by 4-inch tires, and of course you can see that 250 watt motor. And it does come with front and rear fenders, which is really nice. And here's a close-up of the front axle here, just so you can get an idea of how this is attached. And then a wire comes up here and attaches the front motor to the power, which eventually goes into the frame, down to the controller. Moving on to the brakes, this has Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes, which is very, very common for electric bikes in this price range. And then you have 160 millimeter discs. And here's the attachment point going right into the fork for the front fender. They do include this blaze light, integrated front light, attaches to the battery. As with most electric bikes in this price range, it's not going to offer any significant amount of visibility during the day. At night, it offers some visibility. To be honest, I'm fine with the rigid front fork because I'd rather have them include something simple like this rather than a front suspension fork that just doesn't work really well and adds additional weight. As far as cable management goes, I could probably clean this up a little bit, but they all come down and enter the down tube here and then run along that, obviously, to the controller. Moving on to the cockpit here, these mirrors are not included. These are Hafni mirrors. I have videos about those if you're interested. And this light is also not included. This is the Planet Bike Blaze 600 SLX. So as far as the display goes, they include this very simplified display. You can see it has 4 bars for capacity, 2 green, 1 yellow, and a red. And it has a power button. The speed is always displayed in kilometers an hour. So if you want to know your speed, you'll need an external app. So you could use something like the speedometer app by Coolnix. That's the one that I use when I'm recording. 3 modes of pedal assist with the plus and minus buttons here, or no assists. And then you do have that button which turns on and off the front light. And one of the reasons that I think they went with this simplified display is just because of some of the complications related to having 2 motors, pushing watts to each motor, and those sort of things. You can see here we have a left twist grip throttle. And while you do get those Tektro Aries mechanical disc brakes, the levers are quite simple, unbranded. They do have motor cutoffs, which is obviously a nice safety feature. And what I do like is they include a switch to switch between either the front motor or the rear motor only, or both motors. So if I click this to the left, that's going to be the front motor only. All the way to the right is the rear motor. And then if it's in the middle, that will engage both motors at the same time. As far as shifting goes, they have opted for the Sunrace M4. It's actually a brand that I'm not super familiar with, but I do find that the shifting is adequate. It is a nice trigger shifter. And I should note that this is not the stem that you will receive. I'm actually currently testing out this Connect suspension stem. So you'll just get a straight stem there with no adjustability. So if you want your handlebars more upright, you might want to consider that as an upgrade. So we have the Rienshin Dorado Plus battery pack, 15.6 amp hours, so tons of capacity, which is really great with the increased rolling resistance of the fat tires. This kind of comes out at an angle when you're removing it. And as far as branding goes, Eunorau went with a little bit more of a minimalistic approach. The only thing that really says Eunorau is this little badge here. And they do include this Class 2 sticker that you can choose to put on. External controller here. And if you are looking at purchasing this electric bike, one of the things worth pointing out is just the cables that come here at the bottom of the frame. You might want to think about any protection that you might want to put down there just to protect this area. For instance, you're going off-road. Nice sturdy kickstand here. I would have liked to see it placed towards the rear so it doesn't get in contact with the pedals. These are not the pedals that come on the bike. It actually comes with Well-Go pedals. Again, a very standard component on electric bikes these days. And you can see here that the motor power actually comes in here on the left side of the bike. Again, the Tektro Aries disc brakes. One thing that you might want to consider upgrading if you're looking at this bike and you are taller like I am is getting a longer seat post. I believe this is a 350 millimeter seat post, and you can see the minimum insertion point is actually right here. I can't quite get the leg extension that I would like, and I'm 6 feet tall. And while this is a suspension seat post, I don't find that it provides a lot of comfort. So what you might want to do is upgrade to a suspension seat post, or just get a longer one like I mentioned. And this isn't the seat that it comes with. This is a seat that I'm testing out from Ergon. It does come with a nice looking seat, but again, if you want additional comfort, you might want to get something a little bit more comfortable. You can check out my electric bike accessories list for some suggestions there. I really like that Eunorau includes this rack. You can see we have these Roswheel panniers and it fits just perfectly. There's actually a bag that can go on top as well for additional storage. But I'll take this off so you can get a good look at the rack. The rack has a max capacity of 25 kilograms and feels plenty sturdy. Came pre-installed on the bike, which is nice. And it does come with this piece which sometimes slides into some of the bags that you can buy for your rack. And then you have the rear fender, which came installed, which was nice. And then that 350 watt motor in the back, 7-speed shifter. Again, the M40 by Sunrace. They do have the wheel cutouts to reduce some of the weight. And I did add some plastic 3M tape here to protect the frame from chain slap. And then you have the front chain ring. It isn't one of the double-sided ones. And then you have the pedal assist sensor there. Next to the chain ring, you have the pedal assist disc. So as you pedal, it senses that those magnets are moving and tells the motor to engage. Okay, now that I've given you a close-up of the bike, let's get to some of the riding footage, and I'll share some of my more thoughts about the Eunorau all-wheel drive fat tire bike. All right, I know there will be some people who will be curious about max speed on this bike with throttle as well as pedaling. So we're gonna do that test here. We're actually at an RC racetrack, which is kind of fun. But all right, I have the front motor engaged only. So we're gonna see just how fast it can go. 15, 16, 17, 23, now let's go throttle only, both motors. So you can see that the motor is pretty much disengaging at 20 miles an hour. Or cutting off. All right, now I have it on the rear wheel, so we'll do the same thing. It's gonna take a little longer to get up to speed. 17. 20. So both the front and rear motor alone are capable of getting you up to 20 miles an hour. Now I will test out to see how fast I can get the bike going with using both motors and pedaling as hard as I can. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in pedal assist 3. As soon as I round the corner, start to go a little faster here. .22. So that's probably going to be the top speed for most people is 22 miles an hour. I am down 1 bar on my battery, so just keep that in mind. So yeah, top speed 22 miles an hour with pedaling really hard, both motors engaged. Okay, front wheel drive only in some soft sand. Alright everyone, first off, full disclosure that Eunorau sent me this electric bike to review. I've really been wanting to review some all-wheel drive electric bikes, mainly as a winter electric bike to ride in Wisconsin, so I took them up on their offer. With that out of the way, let's talk about this beast. The biggest selling points of this bike are the large battery at 15.6 amp hours or 749 watt hours, and of course the dual motors. And let's just talk about the $16.99 price for a minute, because this is one of the most affordable dual motor electric bikes out there. In fact, it comes in at a similar price to many single motor fat tire e-bikes. Plus it includes all the fixins, fenders, rear rack, and an integrated front light. If you do some digging on the Eunorau website, you're also likely to see an additional discount code for another $50 off at checkout. Let's face it, most people considering an all-wheel drive electric bike are likely going to be wanting it for some kind of off-road terrain, likely for riding in snow or sand. And I can say without hesitation that it absolutely delivers on being better than a single rear-wheel drive electric bike. With the addition of the front motor engaged, traction improves drastically. Any hard-packed sand will be easy for beach cruises, though you will still need to have some balance in loose sand or snow. I was able to briefly test it out in the snow on a frozen lake, and will probably do a follow-up video as well to show off what it can do. Suffice to say, I was impressed. And don't let the 350 watt, 250 watt motor combo deter you. This bike has plenty of torque. Hopefully this gives you a sense of the power of these motors, though I highly recommend that you don't try this yourself, since cleaning up salt and sand everywhere is kind of a pain. I imagine most people will want to ride with just one motor until they get used to the power this bike has. Speaking of riding with one motor, it is nice to have the option to conserve power when you need it and really power through terrain when you want to. I find that when riding on the road, one motor is plenty to keep me riding at a good speed. And while the 3 pedal assist levels and no ability to adjust them is a bit of a bummer, I really view it as 6 or even 9 levels of assist, since you can turn one of the motors off, which allows for more power combinations. The frame of the Eunorau also seemed like it would fit a wider range of riders compared to some of the extra beefy fat tire bikes I've tried out. My wife is 5'5" and fit on the bike no problem. Speaking of approachability, the measurement from the ground to the lowest point on the top tube is 26.5 inches. The bottom line on this bike is if you want a no-frills, affordable, all-wheel drive electric bike, then this is the one for you. It surely will put a smile on your face as you rip through sand and snow. Eunorau has some traction in the e-bike space, and while I don't have any personal experience with their customer service besides receiving the bike, they do offer a 1-year warranty on mechanical and electrical parts, including the frame, display, pedal assist, motor, controller, battery, and charger. They also seem to be consistently pushing out new models to cater to the US market. You'll find almost every fat tire combination on their website, especially with the new 2021 models they recently added. Some of these models are offered at a handful of dealers around the US, including online. I hope you enjoyed this review of the Eunorau all-wheel drive fat tire electric bike. I want to thank everyone who has subscribed to my channel, as I just recently passed 3,000 subscribers. Please consider helping me out and subscribing if you haven't already. It truly makes videos like this one possible. I'll have a link to this bike in the description, as well as a link to my electric bike accessories list and my favorite e-bike brands page. If you make a purchase through links on that page, you're directly supporting me and my efforts here at eBike Escape. Note, I also have tons of written content on ebikeescape.com, and I put out a monthly newsletter that keeps you in the loop of everything electric bikes. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you in the next one.